Hong Kong. A country where some men disguise themselves as women to extort money. They lure you to a secluded place, strip you, record it on video, and then start blackmailing you. Today, we're going to get to know one of the wealthiest cities in Asia, a city you've probably heard of a lot. It's a place where you can experience Japan's progress, Shanghai's streets, Tokyo's taxis, Beijing's stores, Thailand's markets, Malaysia's nature, and Sri Lanka's Buddhist temples all at once. A unique and special city with the highest concentration of skyscrapers, the densest population in the world, the busiest streets, the most escalators globally, the best light shows, and one of the most expensive cities on Earth, along with many other features that make it one of the top tourist destinations in East Asia. However, many tourists prefer traveling to Thailand instead of Hong Kong. Maybe it's because of the high travel costs and the difficulty of getting a visa, or perhaps it's because Thailand, with its diverse attractions, has managed to draw more visitors. This is Hong Kong. A global city with a strong economy. It spans an area of 1,115 square kilometers. Yet, 7.5 million people live in this small space. On top of that, lots of people from other countries come here for work or leisure because it's full of tech companies and economic hubs. The majority of the population is Chinese, but after them, immigrants from Pakistan, India, Nepal, and other lower-income countries have come here to work and earn money to send back to their families. The minimum income in this city is around $1,200, but that's for simple, unskilled jobs. Those with specialized skills earn an average of $4,700 a month. But living in Hong Kong is far from cheap. Because space is limited, people live in high-rise buildings, and renting a 50 to 60 square meter apartment costs about $2,500. That's why nearly 600,000 people live in shacks or even on boats. Don't think the houses here are all luxurious and fancy. Some buildings are old and worn out, so much so that they've become tourist attractions themselves, with people taking photos of them. Now, if you don't like heights or tall buildings, living in Hong Kong might be tough for you. Food is expensive here too, since most of it is imported from other countries. Even many budget travelers either skip Hong Kong or only stay for a short time. If you look at Hong Kong on a map, you'll notice its unique location. It's connected to China in the north and borders the South China Sea in the south. The city is made up of two main parts, the southern section, located on Hong Kong Island, and the northern section, linked to the island by numerous bridges. Hong Kong has over 200 islands, the largest of which is Lantau Island. Thanks to this geography, many ports have been built here, and its trade volume is so high that it's become one of the world's most important economic zones. One of the exciting aspects of traveling to Hong Kong is that you can cross a 55-kilometer bridge, the longest sea-crossing bridge in the world, to reach Macau, another autonomous region of China. Hong Kongers absolutely don't like being called Chinese. Due to years of British colonial rule and their economic status, they see themselves as separate from China. That's why people here speak English very well. You'll often hear it in the metro and other public places. Most people in this city don't follow a specific religion, with about 43% adhering to Buddhism, Taoism, or Confucianism. Hong Kong is governed autonomously, meaning it has its own currency, the Hong Kong dollar, and separate laws. Unlike mainland China, it has a more democratic structure, which is one reason its people don't want to be fully integrated into China. The lifestyle here, like in Taiwan, leans more toward the West. If you're planning to travel to Hong Kong and Macau, keep in mind that their visas are separate from China's. You can't enter these regions with a Chinese visa. Hong Kong was a British colony from 1842 to 1997, after which it was returned to China under the "one country, two systems" policy. According to the agreement between China and Britain, it's supposed to remain autonomous until 2047. Here's an interesting tidbit. If you step into a cafe in Hong Kong, you might also see a laundromat. Some people with limited financial means wash their clothes here and grab something to eat while they wait for them to dry. Transportation in the city mostly relies on trams and the metro, and the trams and buses are double-decker, just like in London. Exploring the city by tram, especially for the first time, is a fun experience and the cheapest way to see the sights. If you want to take a taxi, know that most taxis here are red and usually belong to a specific brand. The order and discipline in this city amaze tourists. The streets and alleys are incredibly clean, you'll hardly see any litter around. Due to the lack of space, restaurants and cafes are often located on the upper floors of buildings, accessible by escalators. Even Buddhist temples can be found on these higher floors. In Hong Kong, some scammers disguise themselves and change their appearance, some even dress up as women. They lure their targets to a secluded spot under the pretense of a sexual encounter, then either rob them of their money and belongings by force or threat, or knock them out and steal easily. Some even film their victims in that vulnerable state and later blackmail them, threatening to ruin their reputation. In short, you need to stay sharp in Hong Kong to avoid falling into the traps of these shady characters, especially if someone seems overly suspicious or asks to meet you alone somewhere. Hong Kong is the third city in the world for the number of billionaires, after New York and Moscow. There are 74 billionaires living here, many of whom aren't Chinese. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye.